I am Neill Wilson. I'm an end-of-life progress coordinator based at Helston Hospital, but I'm also the staff side lead for the Armed Forces community. So the Armed Forces Service Champion are individuals that have done specific training in order for them to have the knowledge and the ability to support the community that are used accessing the services the NHS provide, and also staff side as well. The support really depends on the individual's needs. So, for instance, if the service champion is working on the ward, for instance, they will pick up that the individual is a veteran. They will make sure that the veteran flag is completed on Rio, and if they need anything when they go home that the NHS can't provide or adult social care can't provide, then the specific pathways that the Armed Forces community can support them with. It could be something like attendance at funerals, could be benefits advice, or pensions advice for their military pensions, etc., housing, all kinds of support. This gentleman came across to us from Phoenix Ward on the end-of-life pathway. When he arrived, he was mobile, chatting and all that kind of stuff. So the service champion went in, and we all wear badges. I wear a load of badges on my tie, and the reason for it is not because we like badges, it's a point of contact and it's a conversation starter. So the service champion badge here, you notice that on the healthcare's uniform, but he said, "Oh, I served in the RAF. I was a brokering boy." Unfortunately, by the time I was off for a few days, by the time I got that information, and I was able to go and visit him on the ward, and he became unconscious, and he was on his end-of-life journey, his terminal phase. So what I then did was I tried to locate next of kin. He didn't have any next of kin. He just had friends. When I managed to get hold of the friends, they suddenly backed off because obviously responsibility of being next to kin. They were thinking, "Oh heck, we're going to be left with a bill for all this kind of stuff." When he does eventually pass. Got hold of public health funerals. Public health funerals have a team themselves that are like air hunters from TV. They track down next to kin and family members. We don't have access to those systems. So that they did that. They managed to find his former wife. They obviously had a very poor relationship, and unfortunately she didn't want anything to do with him, despite the fact that he'd left everything from his estate to her. So he was going to be buried by a public health funeral. I rang them and I asked them that, this gentleman is a member of the Armed Forces community. We should remember his service. Can we have somebody at the event at Truro, even if it was just a standard? They agreed. And so what happened was I spoke to the veterans of Cornwall, and then we had a very, very big funeral in attendance. Nobody knew him, but he's part of the community, and the community looked out for him. So he had members from the serving members from RAF St Morgan there. He had standards of the Royal Air Force Association, the British Legion, the Royal Naval Association, and up to Penmount Crematorium. They lined the route